Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Businesses weekly podcast behind Black Business. Our featured guest tonight is Karen Hicks, and Karen is a phenomenal person in our community. She's a phenomenal Black woman, and she has a lot of information and wisdom to pass on to us tonight. As I indicate to you every week, our mission is to help circulate dollars in our community. And as a small grassroots organization, we have come together and we feel that the best way to do this is to uplift our Black businesses in our communities. And in doing so, we're raising dollars to help our businesses. We're helping with developing websites so that they can enhance their marketability. We're also raising dollars to help with their decorum. We are working to raise more dollars here so we can actually bring in business managers to help some of our businesses with their daily operations. We're also having this podcast every week to enhance networking, to let you know about these wonderful people, Black business entrepreneurs out here. We want you to know who they are, where they are, and why we should be supporting them. And this is just one of the areas that we're developing and to improve networking because we also want our businesses to work together. All of this encompasses circulating the dollar. And then we're in the process of working on our public policy division. We want people to read. We want our people to read.
Yes. Ooh.
We once had over 20 Black bookstores in Chicago, and that meant our people were reading, and we were acting different then. And so we have 3 Black bookstores left in Chicago. We also always include Afriware that is included, that is located rather in Maywood, Illinois. And we need to support our Black bookstores. I actually understand some of our Black bookstores business has enhanced during the COVID virus. And in spite of Amazon and all of the availability and conveniences that they offer, we still have a large group of people that are committed to supporting our Black bookstores. And there are books in our Black bookstores that you probably won't get on Amazon. And there's an experience that you can have when you go into our stores that you won't have on Amazon. And so we support our Black bookstores. And so we feature a Black bookstore every month. Underground Bookstore, located on East 87th Street, is our featured Black bookstore of the month. And um, Underground has also recommended for 2 months in a row here, actually, for our book giveaway, because we give away a book every month. And last month, we gave away The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy. And Brother Yoel at Underground has recommended that we provide that book also for our January book giveaway. So if you want to get a copy of this book and find out about the real Anthony Fauci and some other perspectives in terms of what's going on with COVID virus and so on and so forth, this would be a good book to read. And you can subscribe to our website, and then subscribing to our website, then that's how you become eligible to win the book. And this is sponsored by Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Community. And lastly, we support our Black banks. The Southside Community Federal Credit Union has been in our community for over 20 years, giving loans to people who wouldn't be able to go into some of the other major banks to get loans. They have been giving free financial literacy classes to the community to help people to learn how to manage their money and to learn about finances. And they need us to make deposits, because when you make deposits into a bank, then that's how they're able to create money. So we have to support our Black institutions. And that is what Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities is working on right now. And so, without any further conversation about what we're doing, I want to bring our guest in. We were having some problems with the video, so that's why we have this beautiful picture of Miss Karen Hicks, center, front and center on the screen, because we were having some problems. We're having some technical problems. And I don't know if some of you out there know about Mercury retrograde, but we are in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. So having technological problems comes along with that territory. But in spite of, we figured out a way to continue this because we felt like the information and the messages that Karen has to give to us tonight is important. And so we persevered, and so did she. So we were able to bring her to you tonight. So thank you for coming on, Karen.
Oh, no problem.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we want to get started. You know, as I told you, when I first met you, I was amazed at your story about you as a business person, and the businesses that you started and the things that you went through. And so I'll let you just begin in terms of how you want to start to introduce yourself, and then begin to tell us about your journey into the business world.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm Karen Hicks. Um, I don't believe in all the like I did this, I did that. I
Mhm.
believe in who I am, and I've been this way since a little girl. And the Creator knew the right parents to give me. I had an awesome mother and an awesome father. And my father always told me that when we come here, there's a purpose for us being here. And so my dad would always say, be the best you, because there's nobody else like you.
Mhm.
But as I began to get older, I saw that everybody wanted to be like everybody else. And I didn't understand it. If I'm supposed to be the best me, why does everybody want to be like everybody else? So to really mold who I am today, I was in front of my house and I was playing jacks. And I saw a piece of bread walking down the street. Okay. And I followed the piece of bread. When I followed the piece of bread was an ant. He was carrying this piece of bread, took it down in this hole, and I was just amazed.
Mhm.
So I ran home and I told Mama, I said, Mama, can I go to the library? And she said, why? I want to go read about an ant. Because I just saw an ant walking down the street. So as I began studying the ant and the bees and the geese and the sheep, I mean, I just started studying animals. And of course, I went to Catholic school, so I had to read the Bible, right? So I know in the Bible, the Creator said He made us higher than everybody else. So I said, well, if we're higher than everybody else, and this little bitty ant is taking care of his whole family, how come we got to go to these schools and jobs? why we gotta pay attention to what another human being tells us to do when we all came out of womb? We came from our father's seed, placed into our mother. We all came out of a woman's womb, right?
Mhm.
So I never understood why school and jobs took us over. That just always amazed me. So with me going to Catholic school, and my mother, and let me tell you why my mother sent us to Catholic school. She sent us to Catholic school because she didn't believe in the immunization. And
Okay.
back then it was cheaper for you to send 5 children to school, to a Catholic school. So she
Mhm.
sent us there so we wouldn't have to take those shots. So when I started going to this school, St. Columbanus, I went to St. Elizabeth and I went to St. Columbanus. Um, you know how you have to read the Bible and you have to you got to go to confession.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really thought Jesus was in the confession booth. I'm going somewhere with this. So every week I would go confess on Sundays so that Monday I could really be bad again. Long as I come on Sundays, tell all the bad stuff I do, here come Monday, I'm gonna start over and be bad. So as I began to get older, I think I was in fourth or fifth grade, um, I started liking this little boy named Gregory Sims. And I would sneak behind the bushes and kiss him. So when I went into confession, I told Jesus. I kissed Gregory Sims. I stole $1 out of my mama's purse, just telling everything, right? So come to school Monday, I'm coming down the steps, and the father, the priest, he said, Miss Hicks, you bet not be in them bushes again, and you bet not take money out your mother's purse.
Mm.
So I turned around and I said to myself, how the heck you know what I told Jesus?
Mhm.
I was pissed. I went home. Now I've always been a very happy child, always happy. If you see me saying something wrong. So when I walked in the house, mama said, what's wrong with you? I said, you know what, mama? Jesus then told Father Ron everything about my business. And my mother said, what the heck are you talking about? Confession, mama. She started laughing. She said, baby, that ain't Jesus in there. That's Father Ron. That was the beginning of me seeking truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a little girl, I really thought Jesus was in the confession stand, and I thought Jesus was up there when you hand, you know how you hand the crackers and the wine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was my journey to truth, studying the ant and studying the Bible. I began reading. And as I began to read the Bible, I realized that he sent me here with everything that I needed. Only thing I needed to do was choose right, no matter how wrong looked. Well, of course, you know that didn't happen in life. We go through our changes. But I told my mother back then, I'm not going to these schools. I'm not going to these churches. I'm not doing any of it. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
self-educate myself and I'm going to connect with people. And that's what I did. And as I speeded up, my father was always a businessman. And he taught me business by letting me open up a lemonade store, a lemonade stand. And
Okay.
as I opened up the lemonade stand and make money, I thought I was making it happen. Until my daddy started telling me to pay him for the lemons and this and that. And that was the first lesson of business that I had to make sure my overhead. So what I'm trying to say
Yeah.
is the creator gave me all these little incidents,
Mm-hmm.
all these little things that happened in my life to really start looking into me. So my very first business was a cleaning service. I got a great big contract out at Great Lakes. I would be with my father at some of these political events, and my father introduced me to one of the captains of the Great Lakes Navy base, and he said to my daddy, he said to me, "Are you bonded? Are you licensed and bonded?" I didn't know what that meant. So as I
Mm-hmm.
got ready to say no, my daddy kind of pushed me to the side and said, "Yes, she is." So my daddy began to teach me. And so my first business was a cleaning service. My second was a lounge. The lounge business is where I got all my wisdom from.
Now let me ask you a question here.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
did you? How old were you? Okay, you said when you first started, you had your little lemonade stand. So you were how
That was
old?
like I was like 12, 10,
12 years old.
12. Yeah, right.
So did you ever work a regular job?
The very first time I worked a regular job was Stewart Bus Company.
Okay.
And I was just a receptionist. And it's another story to that. And then after that, I worked for Riley and Dalton. That's it, my entire life. The
Now
the bus company,
Riley and Dalton, is that a
he was the mayor. Riley was the mayor.
okay.
Right, right. Riley Rogers was the mayor from 2013 to like just last year. But I worked for him 2016, and he fired me before the year was out because I don't kiss. You know me. I mean, by now you all know me. When I see the crooked stuff going on, I'm gone.
Well, as I listen to you, your father played a key role in your life.
Yes.
And number one, and number two, the things that he told you, you listened to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we have, our parents or our grandparents or other people around in our lives, and they tell us things, but we don't listen, to what they said. And it seems like you really grabbed on to the things that your father was telling you about looking into yourself and finding your
Mm-hmm.
own purpose. And a lot of people hear that today, but they still don't quite grasp what that means. And I think that was a key, to you, moving through life and making a lot of the decisions that you made. And it's just a blessing that you had such a wonderful father, to have such a great influence in your life.
Yeah, it was designed by the creator. See,
Hmm.
see, I can speak boldly today because I know. See,
Hmm.
I didn't know. I really didn't really find out until 2008. This is when I really walked into taking ownership of who I am.
Hmm.
Because all these years, my life was, how can I put this? I thought something was wrong with me because I just could not go along to get along. Like my mother would go to church and my mother would say lie about this, and I'd be like, Mama, how you going to church? And so I never fit in that world. Either I'm in that world, or I'm not. I never fit into that world.
Hmm.
So what broke my heart is my daddy left. My daddy just up and left. Like
Hmm.
one day he was here, one day you didn't see him no more. Like he was gone. Like I never saw my daddy again
Hmm.
after a certain age. And my prayer to the creator was, I just want to ask him, why did he leave? Well, let
Hmm.
me let me speed up. Out of all my mother's 5 children, I'm the only daughter that was able to reconnect with my daddy again before he died. And I had the opportunity to ask him, man, why did you leave? He said, if I had not left Caron, he used to call me Caron, you
Hmm.
would have been without a mother and a father.
Hmm.
And that's because my mother was just as tough as my dad. But
Hmm.
because my dad was a man, he couldn't let her belittle him.
Okay.
So my goal in life was to never be that hard on a man, even though a lot of people think that I'm hard and all this. I'm really a pussycat when it comes to a real man.
Okay.
I have to have a real man. But all this stuff that happened was favor. Like I've been having favor since I was a little girl. And
Hmm.
I didn't understand why. I didn't understand why until I hit rock bottom. I've had favor to do the work of the kingdom. So I got molested when I was a young girl. After my dad left, and my mama used to have to take us to a babysitter. The babysitting boy molested me. Every night he would come molest me, and after a
Hmm.
while I got used to it. Well, getting molested opened up the woman in me. See, this is something we don't talk about.
Hmm.
This is real deep in our community. Well, by that opening up the woman in me, it led me into a life of cheating. Like I loved to cheat. Like cheat. I'm a cheater. Cheat on my husband, cheat on your husband, cheat, cheat, cheat. Till I finally had to realize, why do I have that addiction? Because as a young girl, when that boy would pick me up out the bed, it was that sneaking. You understand what I'm saying? It's that sneaking. So
Hmm.
not until I gave that life up in 2008 did the Creator allow the rest of my blessings to flow. In the transportation, when I went into that business,
Hmm.
picking up mentally ill, realizing how many people that got on my bus, and I transported over 400 people a day, got on those buses that had mental illnesses for being molested and taken advantage of. So that's why you hear me so passionate
Sure.
about things. And
Hmm.
so I began healing these people with the kind of money I would, shut down Country Buffet, take them to dinner, bring them out to my home, until I got a visit from the community that owned the nursing homes and the psychosocials. And basically, they told me that me ministering to people was healing them. And because they were being healed, money was being missed.
Oh, now
So,
see, that's. I mean, I'm catching what you're saying here. You're talking about the abuse in our community. You're talking about
Yes.
the pain in our community, and
Yes.
you started a business. You started a bus company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just a bus company to you,
Mm-mm.
but you were also dealing with the people that you were transporting.
Mm-hmm.
And this
And
is
let me show
and
and let
this
me
is
just say
the
this.
kind of people
Let me
that
show
we
you.
are. Mm-hmm.
Let me show you how God worked. Remember, you said did I ever work? Well, my very first job was at a bus company called Stewart Bus Company, and the
Mm-hmm.
owner of that bus company was a Jewish man who was like madly in love with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had favor.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go to all the meetings with him. He was so after I no longer saw him no more, I was well known in the Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, when I went into the transportation business, I went to the top because they had known me from the affiliation I had with the original owners. You see how God led the pathway?
Mm-hmm.
So everything that people in the transportation said I couldn't do, the creator allowed me to master it. Because once in the transportation, at one point you had the Jewish community owning the nursing homes, the bus company, and the
Mm-hmm.
psychosocials. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
got in and created a association, and I made myself president, and I changed the whole game. But that was God that had led that favor up.
Mm-hmm.
But then here come the tax. After I'm in it, one of the largest transportation, making all kind of money, and they told me to stop being who I am as far as healing. I had to make a choice to stop being who I truly was born to be, like my daddy told me, or to shut up and continue making millions of dollars. I
And
guess you
this
know what
is
I did.
you quit.
I stopped. I lost
That's right.
everything. I
That's
even
right.
lost the relationship with my son
Mhm.
because he was used to living a certain lifestyle.
And
I
see,
lost everything.
Karen, this is the trap that we're in. We have it's just like our men in prison,
Yep.
and why they keep the prison industries going, because there are people making money, and they're making money through businesses off of our demise. Same thing with the music industry, the kind of music and the lyrics that are being put out here, that are destructive to our people. But you got people making money. The welfare system, people that are working in the welfare system, even our politicians, you know,
Yep.
nobody is doing what needs to be done to get people out of these situations, because what you just said, we won't have jobs anymore.
Yep.
So we don't want you to get better.
Nope.
We don't want you to get off of drugs. We don't want you
Nope.
to stop being criminals, because we're making money off of you. And that's the sinful part of so many industries here in
No,
this country.
the sinful part is that nobody on this planet has the power over us but us.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can do what we can do. So until we know who we are, why we were sent, it's not going to change. It's not the white people and the purple people and the green people. It's
Mm-hmm.
us. We've
So,
allowed two pieces of paper, a degree, and money.
mm-hmm.
Two pieces of paper that mean absolutely nothing. Number one, the creator created the tree that the piece of paper come on. But we believe more in what's on the piece of paper than the substance that it's on. The creator created the tree. So we look at a degree and we say, oh, I gotta go get this degree no matter what I gotta do. I get this degree, then I take this degree, and then I go get the job, and then I get that. So we're out of line.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else can make stuff happen like the black man and woman. Nobody. We are the currency. We are magic.
And see, that doesn't even happen anymore. Maybe when I come through in my generation, you got a degree, you had a job, and it mostly mostly government jobs,
Mm-hmm.
that you got to work on, for 30, 40 years, and
Mm-hmm.
retire, with the
Mm-hmm.
pension. And nowadays, people are graduating with degrees and there are no jobs. So,
Well,
so
because our original job was to till and dress the land. Till means to cultivate, dress means to set straight. So
mhm.
we've allowed another human being that came out the same portal that we came out of to tell us that no, in order for you to really live life, you got to do this and that. Well, I'm a living, walking, breathing witness on this phone. I ain't followed one human being system, and I live a hell of a life.
Well, you're
Period.
the second person. Well, I'll say the third person. There were two young people that have been on our podcast, and one was just on last week. And they started out, going to college, and then realized that their worth, that wasn't what was going to help them. That they had to
Hmm.
deal with what they knew they could do and learn from themselves, and they started their own businesses.
Hmm.
And I think that's happening more today. I think we have some of our young people are waking up, and
Yeah.
they're seeing the reality of what's really going on out here.
Well, look at the Emmett Till story, and a lot of people got offended when I said this on WVON. The Emmett Till story is one of I'm so glad they're showing it because I've always respected that mother, that she had the courage to keep her child's casket open. And it was for more than just her and her son. It was literally to let us as a black people realize, do you understand how bad they fear you? See, remember now, if you was born and raised in the South compared to born and raised in the North, you was raised two different ways. Those of
Hmm.
us that was born and raised in the North, we didn't fear. We were not taught to put your head down when a white man walked past, or
Hmm.
don't put your eyes up when that just wasn't our get up. That's
Hmm.
why if you notice, if you go do your homework, almost every pastor and politician comes from someplace other than Illinois.
Hmm.
That's on purpose. That's by purpose.
Hmm.
So they've studied us to the T. We just haven't studied us. And that's why today, most people, how can I say this? They might not like me, but they ain't too much going to disrespect me because you know what the Creator did along with me being who I am? He allowed me to sit at tables. See, remember,
Hmm.
he said he'll put you in high places. And high places is where you go and see what others haven't seen. But then the test comes when you say no. It ain't enough
Hmm.
money on this planet.
Hmm.
So everything that we see with the schools and the churches and the community, that come from us. That come
That's
from
right.
every one of us selling out. We can't blame it
That's
on the
right.
white, purple, and the
That's
green
right.
because they don't have the power.
That's right.
JB, I mean, just common sense. JB is one of the most wealthiest men in the world. Why would he pay to have that type of power? So doesn't that tell you something ain't right? Because he could
Mhm.
control our men. And I say men because there's a lot of hidden stuff going on that our men could never step up and be a man for. So I ain't mad that you can't do it. Just step to the side so the woman can take the place. Because even the word says it's gonna come a time when man gonna fall. Remember?
That's right.
So then when the man fell, what did he have? That woman. See, a lot of people don't understand. A few good women ain't just some little organization, jump up and down, let's have parties. It's a movement.
Well, now that's something I want you to, definitely expound on, and that's your business, the Few Good Women.
Hmm.
I like for you to talk about that.
Well, it started because, Harold Davis was a very good friend of mine. Um, Harold Davis from Buck Naked Truth.
Hmm.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Well, a lot of people out in Dalton would tell me, Karen, you need to listen to this man come on the radio. Now, I ain't never been no talk radio girl. But
Hmm.
back then, as I was getting on my feet after I fell out with Mayor Riley, I had started doing Uber. So I was always in the car. And a couple of trustees out there say, you need to listen to this man. He remind me of you. So I don't want to listen to no talk show. So one day I turned him on. When I turned him on, he was talking about Aramark, how Aramark wanted him to be a pass-through company and blah, 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 blah. Well, I was very impressed with his truth because at some point that's what was happening to me. They wanted me to be a pass through because I was hitting so many nursing homes, and I turned them down. So I called in and I told him, I said, I'm quite impressed with you being this bold on TV. And hold on one second. And so we became very good friends.
Mhm.
Hold on. We became very good friends. So I became calling, talking, connecting with him. So one day we were doing we were at lunch, and he said, "Miss Hicks, we need a good few more good women like yourself." So that's where the concept of a few good women came about. And as
Mhm.
I began doing Uber, I started seeing that, many women were lost in our community. Like I was just like amazed. Like,
Hello, Karen. Okay, I think as I stated, we've had some technical, logical uh, problems, and so we'll just hold on here a minute and see if we can get Karen back. Um, but Karen is sharing some very important information with us. You might have to say, what does this have to do with businesses when she talks about the abuse of our people? It has a lot to do with business, with our businesses, because this is what's happening to our people. This is what many of our people are suffering from, and it's having an impact on how we're functioning out here, whether we have a business or we're working on a job. A lot of businesses right now have difficulty getting good workers.
hello,
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 Karen, are you there?
hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
You
You know what?
dropped
Hold on.
off. Yeah, you dropped
Hold
off for
on.
a second. So
Can you hear
are
me
you still
now?
there? Yeah, I can hear you fine.
You know what? It's the earpiece. Hold on. I can't do that. Okay,
Can
you
you
can
hear
hear me,
me?
right? Okay, I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It was the earpiece. I had to cut it off.
Okay. Okay. Well, I was just sharing with the audience how important the things that you were talking about, especially when you start to talk about the abuse and the pains that our people are going through, and you were starting to talk about the women, and how so many of our women are lost out here, and so that's kind of where you
Yeah.
left
Well,
off.
yeah, and so that's what really made me, um connect with the do that. And it started, I heard Dr. Wilson on the radio saying he was going to run for mayor, and I called him up. No, I didn't even call him up. Yes, I did. I called his secretary because I wanted to give him a fundraiser. So I was one of the first ones to give him a fundraiser. And at
Hmm.
that fundraiser, I really believed in Dr. Wilson. I really, truly believed that Dr. Wilson was a man that wanted to run for mayor and make a difference in the community. And I said, you know what? I'm going to assist him, and I'm going to show him how serious I am by giving him his first fundraiser. Now, I'm giving a rich man. I'm not no rich woman. I'm giving a rich man a fundraiser. I paid for it out of my pocket. In the process of me connecting with him, I met a couple of ladies who I was going to bring up under my, every one of them wanted to get next to Dr. Wilson. I'm not going to name no names, but every one of them wanted to be in his camp. Okay. So I made sure they got in their camp. Well, getting with him, every one of them crossed me, even tried to take the few good women. But because I'm anointed, appointed, and the creator got me on the mission, I was able to keep a few good women to do what the creator wanted me to do. And right now, that's what it's about. It's about raising up women, a real
Mhm.
Proverbs 31 woman. And if you really read Proverbs 31, she cut down a tree, she built a house, she killed the animals, cooked the food, and went to the market and sold the clothes.
Mhm.
Only thing she needed from her man was his promise to creator to provide protection and to produce seed.
And you see this, when we look at and read about or visit, different parts of Africa and the culture
Mm-hmm.
there and what the women's responsibilities are, especially when you go to the markets.
Mm-hmm.
The women dominate the markets
Yep.
in Africa,
Yep.
where they're selling the goods and the wares is dominated by the women.
Yes. But because we're in the Western culture, we learn their way. We started doing things the Western culture way, and we walked away from our way. We didn't even, all these people say they Christians and we didn't even study the word anymore. We just gave up who we were. We're anointed. We're like blessed. Like we are the currency. Think about
Hmm.
college. Okay. Think about college, right? There you can never create what was already created. You can duplicate what's
Hmm.
created, like a bird is a plane, right? A
Hmm.
duck is a 747, a computer is the human mind, a car is everything you look at is a duplication of what was already created. Let's just go up to the college. The colleges have the associates, the bachelors, the masters, and the doctrine, right?
Hmm.
Well, the creator told you to associate yourself with what he created. What was that? Nature. We must associate ourselves with nature. Nature will teach you everything about you, starting with a tree. The woman is the perfect example of a tree. So we must associate. That's our first associate's degree. How do we get that so good? We must remain a bachelor for as long as we can so that we can get to know ourselves. So we need to associate ourselves with nature, remain a bachelor as long as we can to forever, how long it takes for us to get to know ourselves. Then we will begin to master every form of dis-ease, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and even financially, that the Western culture has put upon us. And then guess what? You will have the doctrine of your own life. So as we begin to meditate and study and get that daily bread on a daily basis, you will know who you are, you will know why you are, and everything that you need, even some things that you desire from your heart, will begin to manifest. That's what I do with a few good women.
Hmm.
It starts with cleaning up. How do you feel when your house is clean opposed to when your house is dirty? Our house is dirty. Most women ain't finna cook if the kitchen is dirty. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
Our house is dirty. So until we clean our house up, we can't even think straight as a woman.
So you
So
have
that,
actually taken on some campaigns towards cleaning up the neighborhood.
yes. As I started doing Uber, I never saw so many filthy communities. I was like
Mhm.
astounded, like, wow. So I started counting the garbage cans. I did statistics on that, saw that there's one garbage can to every 4 blocks, opposed to 4 garbage cans to every 1 block in other communities. And the trash and the filthiness on the door handles, the whole 9 yard. So my
Mhm.
first live was on 79th Street because I really got pissed when I went over there because I didn't used to feel myself cleaning up. I would just clean up and I
Mhm.
would get the bucket boys out, have the bucket boys help me. But when I was on 79th and hosted, I just got angry because the police station was beautiful with
Mhm.
flowers and clean windows. And right across from the police station was a vacant, filthy lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what I did my first live to say I'm taking on this cleaning venture. And I did. I began getting on expressways and wherever I went. And Then I started researching who was over it. I found out IDOT was over it. And along with
Okay.
IDOT had 6 companies that they had given contracts to, and most of them was Hispanics. And the only
Mhm.
reason why they weren't doing our community because nobody was complaining.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I only put it on film because I wanted to make us aware of how much we're throwing trash in our own community. Because the stuff that I was seeing, it's and like I said, when he let me behind closed doors, I realized the teachers, the police, the politicians, the pastors,
Mhm.
every one of our black people in leadership position are the reason for our suffering today. It has nothing to do with the white people. They are who they are. Wicked,
Mhm.
evil is who evil is. It's the wicked that we must destroy. Because there's always going to be good and evil because the world has to be balanced. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
It's the wicked that must go. It's the wicked that won't make a choice. If you evil and I know you evil, hey, I commend you for it. That's why people don't
And
understand why.
a
Mhm.
lot of it is selfishness,
Yes,
just being concerned
about
about
your money.
themselves, being concerned about their family, their children, their friends, their household, and forget about everybody else. But I think
Yep.
that has flipped on people now because when you look at the violence out here today, uh, everybody, everybody has to be concerned about it. And
Yeah.
the things
Crack.
that we did not do for these children, as they were coming up and, putting our children into these service, foster care and all of the abuse. When you talk about the abuse, a lot of what you see happening out here is a lot of hurt people. And so
Yeah,
reaching
we got a hurt generation of people.
out. Hmm.
Our problem comes from the women being hurt from our own men because the Western European man hurt our man,
Hmm.
even when it go back as far as bucking.
Hmm.
So the bucking that took place in slavery is being done big time in today's world. And that is the big secret that's really destroying our community. A lot of people think I'm
Hmm.
crazy when I say that, but I'm not.
Hmm.
Remember, I transported these men. I had grown men that got hooked on heroin because they was molested by pastors and policemen and teachers and their own brothers and their own fathers. And because it's hard for a man to tell somebody that the next
Okay, Karen has gotten cut off again because Karen is giving us some really some real truthful information. Um, she's giving us some real truthful information here, and we have lost her on the stream. I'm hoping that she'll be able to come back. But this information is so important because when we talk about why we can't, our organization, we're working to uh, encourage people to support our businesses. We shouldn't have to do that. And when you start to ask the questions of why, why aren't we working together? Why aren't we doing certain things that we should be doing in our community? What she's talking about is, the basis of all of this and where this is coming from. And so the fact that she's having the experiences that she's having is so important. I've also wanted her to talk tonight about, as she works with this organization, A Few Good Women. She started a sewing class, and I know that we used to have sewing and home economics in school. That was just automatic. That we would learn how to do these things. And I think she's coming back here. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if we can get her back in.
can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, I
You,
don't know what's going
yeah, you
on.
totally dropped off.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. I had to go out and come back in.
okay, but I was sharing, with the audience how these conversations that you're having about our pain and our suffering, and the impact that it's having on what we're experiencing today. Because as an organization, Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities, we've come together to try to help our businesses. And
Mm.
we're having to encourage people, our people, we're having to beg our people sometimes to support our Black businesses. And that shouldn't be,
Well,
and
well,
so.
well, well, how can you support anything if you haven't supported yourself? See, right now with this so-called thing called COVID, right now it's time for us to keep still and go inside. And once
Mhm,
we keep still and go inside, everything that we need, it will manifest automatically
mhm.
because we are the currency. See, listen, money was created by the Western culture because they paid attention to us after we found them in the Caucasus Mountains. You know, it's real deep. But they tried to figure out how are these people keep making it when we've taken everything from them. So they had to find something
Everything.
for us to put our energy into, and that was the dollar bill.
Mhm.
So we think we can't manifest what we need unless the energy is into that dollar bill. So we took the focus off of us. We're energy.
Mhm.
And our energy works as best is when we're naturally our kind-hearted self, when we're naturally our clean self, when we're naturally our honest self. All that other stuff doesn't work for us.
That's right.
We can't manifest the magic with following the Western culture. That's why when somebody says, I mean, listen to how foolish we sound. We need to do this, but yet and still we continue to follow the system of the Western culture.
Mhm.
We say, but, but Karen, but we got to have a degree. But Karen, the reason why I don't agree with that, because I'm a living, breathing witness. It's a lie. It's a lie.
And I
What?
I agree with you because I know when we started this organization, one of the things people, were saying, well, we have to have money. We have to have money. We got to go after the money. And, they were giving all of this money away, after George Floyd and what happened to him. And everybody was running after the money. And I said, well, we're an organization. We've said that we want to help uplift our community. Our focus has to be on the work and not the money.
But
You know,
how can, but listen to this, Denise.
mm-hmm,
You know why they put so much money in our community? Because they know we all gonna chase the money instead of chasing the God that dwells within ourselves. So many
mm-hmm,
people out here with money that are damaged. Me and Obadelli just had a little battle on Facebook because he put up there something negative about Kanye's mental health. And I had to
mm-hmm,
go in there and say, how dare you? You got all this money. You're called the activist, right? Oh, I forgot. You got to be in the clique to be a part of that. You
mm-hmm,
got all this anti-violence money and mental health money, but yet and still you're on national Facebook making a joke about somebody who has mental issues.
mm-hmm.
Let's just keep it 100. So to him, it's like I'm attacking him, but I'm keeping it real. You get on radio every day and talk about how many people you gonna help, but because we don't confront people like that, we got plenty of money. We're not lacking money. We're lacking integrity. We're lacking who we are. We're lacking honesty. Our schools are messed up because our teachers was quiet to wait on their pensions.
Mhm,
Okay, come on now.
mhm,
Let's
mhm.
really be real. When
That's
the
right.
Hispanics say, "Man, I'm not putting my children up under a bus for no job," everything we see is because we've sold out. And instead of saying, I'm sorry, I want to repent. I do not want to repeat and I want to atone. One young lady told me I need to stop telling about my cheating days. Why? I'm not
Hmm,
ashamed of it. Ain't nothing shame
mhm,
with me about that, darling. Ain't nothing in my life shame. I'm free. Because until you can be free and keep it real, you're not going to be that awesome piece of currency that flows. I'm currency. I live in the moment. I make a living with what I've been given. I make a life with what I give. And right now I say, oh my goodness, creator, you gave me all that favor from the time you put my mama and my daddy. And I thought I was just here to be cute and step and own this and own that. When really, when everything failed, when I hit rock bottom, he said, Karen,
Mm-hmm.
I had that favor for you, baby, because I know you was tough enough to go tell the rest of the world. That's what a few good women is about. Every woman that's in a few good women right now, and it's over 877 women. I started with 6 women.
Oh my goodness. I was going to ask you how big your organization
Yeah,
had
I
grown.
started with 6 women.
Mm-hmm.
And the key is, are you willing to give up some of your wants for another person's need? Are you a woman of integrity? And can you keep it 100? We don't use the word try because you will. We don't use the word can't because you can. And we never say, I don't know. We're going to find out. And
Yes.
when one is in need, we all get together and help supply that. So when the COVID first hit, we were all helping each other. We see young
Mm-hmm.
people, we support them with our own money. We have never taken
Mm-hmm.
nobody's grants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what our organization has thrived on, up to now. We're the things that we're doing and what we've done, that's where the dollars are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show that, like you said, the value really is in us.
Yes.
They even call us, in some industries, they reference their workers as human capital.
Yes, we are.
Human capital.
Yeah.
And then
America is a business. The sad part is
Mhm.
Trump ain't lying about that. America is a
Mhm.
business, baby. Their business is healthcare and schooling. So they
Mhm.
need you dumb and sick. Check it out. When you
Mm.
go to college, until you pay your college tuition, you can't even buy a house. So you see all the high rises they putting up. Guess why them high rises have been put up? For college students. That's why every radio you hear they push, go to college, go to college, go to college. Blah, blah, blah. I bet I'll tell you like this. Pay attention to all the so-called activists out there. You're gonna start hearing each and every one of them about to get back in school.
Hmm.
So all we gotta do is pay attention. And like I said, I ain't never mad at somebody making a wrong decision. A young lady called me tonight and said, "You just like everybody said, if you piss me off now, darling, I'm real. When I see that you ain't really who you are, I fall back. I ain't got to sprinkle no salt, but I sure ain't gonna put no sugar on you."
Now you cut some of your time to be on this show tonight from
Mm-hmm.
your sewing class.
Yep.
And how many people are in your sewing class?
It's about 30. And
30?
what I love is they brought their children, their grandchildren, and
Hmm.
we've been constant and consistent since October. Matter of fact, I got sick. I was in the hospital, and they still continue it. And to see older and young people create something of
Hmm.
their own is just an awesome feeling. Because if we don't get back to manufacturing and producing something of our
Anything.
own, we're about to
Hmm.
be out.
And that used to be a part of your education. You had home economics, so
Yep.
you learned how to sew, and you did some cooking, you
Yep.
know, and that was a part of your education. And I remember at CVS High School, they had a fashion and design course, and it was many students in that program,
Yep.
and they had a wonderful fashion show every year, and that was one of the first programs that they cut.
Well, why you think? Because it was benefiting
Yeah.
us.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that benefits us, they can't do that. I sat
Mm-hmm.
in meetings with pastors and politicians that's like, man, Miss Hicks, I know what you're trying to do is good, but black pastors, black politicians, like, why you think don't too many people attack me? Because they know I know. Michael Van Treese knows me very well.
Mm-hmm.
I've sat at these tables. When I first came out in Dalton, I went in a matter of weeks, I went from one salary to another. But when I didn't play the game, they just thought, okay, she in need, she broke, she lost everything. She taking care of her because I was taking care of my stepdad who had dementia. Now I
Mm-hmm.
walked away, baby. If I walked away from millions of dollars, your little peanuts mean nothing. Am I right or wrong?
That's
But
right.
I do know that everybody ain't me. So I don't look for everybody to be like me. But our problem with us today is us, nobody but
Young
us.
people, you
We
are
do all this.
right.
I love you, God, Allah, all this, but we don't trust him. We trust man. And we are really in a season that if we don't stop praising man. Somebody asked me on the radio the other day, what can I say about King? Well, King did what King wanted to do. That was his thing. That was his time. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The Creator told us to separate. Then we're gonna let a man tell us to integrate.
Well, he came to a realization about that, when he talked
Yeah,
about how he feels he's led his people
yeah.
into a burning
But we
house.
but we don't talk about that
Yeah.
because the
Hmm.
Martin Luther King Day makes Western European culture millions of dollars. Only thing
Hmm.
we do is talk about his dream. That's all we do. We don't even understand how repetitious we become with nothing. So they look at me when I say look out the door. I don't have to call no names, but if you've been in any type of leadership in the past 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and we
Hmm.
can't look out the average window of a black community, something ain't right.
Yeah,
Come on,
our,
man.
our communities have just been destroyed in so many ways.
It's been destroyed
In
from
so many
us
ways. Hmm.
because we'll say for instance, I know that you're wicked. You did something under 100. First thing I say is, I like Denise. I really do like Denise, but
Hmm.
she did that wrong. Instead of me
Hmm.
loving you and calling you and say, hey Denise, come on, baby, that's foul. You got to stop that. We
Right.
move on and go talk behind people's back.
Hmm.
We worry about how many people like us. I got more people hating me since I chose to walk the righteous road than when I was a woman sleeping with people's husbands, standing on top of bars. I've never been no wild woman. I've always had a certain air about myself. But when I was living that life of being a home wrecker, man, people loved me. Pull the red carpet out. Is when I chose to walk right when people began to hate. So people
Well, I
gonna
think
talk.
I think you
Hmm.
have such a wise perspective on things, and I so appreciate you speaking the truth of things. And I know you also told me that you were an avid reader.
Hmm.
And I would like to say, well, ask you, because we do support our Black bookstores, and
Hmm.
we want our people to read. What would be several books that you would recommend that
Well,
our viewership pick
one
up?
great book that I'm sitting here now
Hmm.
that I read before I go to bed is The Spirit Hacking
Hmm.
by Shaman Durek. I read tons of books. I am a book reader.
Okay.
This book and The Shack are two of the greatest books that changed me from inside.
Okay.
Spirit Hacking, and I'll text you, you know,
Okay.
and The Shack. Now, books so that we will know about Chicago
Hmm.
would be Black Pea Stone Nation by
Okay.
William P. Young
Hmm.
and The Shakedown that has Jesse Face on the top of it.
Hmm.
Now, the reason why I don't promote that one publicly is because I don't want Jesse to think I'm attacking him.
Hmm.
But in this book tells about Chicago. Because Chicago is
Hmm.
not that old. We just got here. Chicago's not that old. We just was able to buy houses, what, in the 50s, 60s? So
Hmm.
unless we know the root, we're not going to understand what's happening today. So the same people that we're putting on a pedestal, that help us get our community, those are the same ones that started the trouble. The same ones that created the demise are the ones that want to be put on the rise. And right now, it's time for them to be convicted, not condemned, but convicted. It's time for them to get out the way.
Because common sense would tell you, here in Chicago, we had so many Black businesses on the west
Hmm.
side. and the South Side. I mean, I've had people come on here that's been in business for over 50 years. One
Mm-hmm.
woman out of the past records, she said she owned 10 businesses over on the West Side. I remember when we had Black people owning gas stations.
Yeah.
And as we had more immigration coming into the country, and people from the Arab communities and the Koreans coming to our communities to set up businesses. No one said, okay, you can come and open up a business here, but we're not going to let it happen to the extent where it's going to destabilize the businesses that we already have.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody stood up for the Black people and the businesses that they already had in the community. And that's where I would definitely fall to our leadership.
Well, also remember now, crack, crack and college destroyed our communities. Crack
Well,
made you feel less
absolutely.
than, college made you feel better than. And
Hmm.
Jeff Ford did not want crack to come in because he knew it would take a woman away from her child. The only time a black woman ever stepped away from her child was because of crack. So how did
Hmm.
that crack get in? It went in through Fluky.
Hmm.
Fluky worked for the Irish, but a lot of people don't know these stories. So
Well,
it is not. It's not.
those drugs was on those college campuses at time.
Yes.
That's what it was more about. Going to college
Yes.
and getting high.
Think about this. Before you go off to those campuses, you're taught don't do drugs, don't sleep
Hmm.
around, don't drink too much, don't join any gangs, and read as much as you can, right?
Hmm.
Let's go to college. Try
Hmm.
some drugs, drink as much as you want, sleep around with whoever. Matter of fact, if you get pregnant, go get an abortion. Nobody would ever know. Go join two of the biggest gangs in the country, the sororities and the fraternities, and guess what? Dislike books because they made you read things that will never do take away or add to your life. Then you come home and you feel some type of way because you done did the same thing the crackhead did. It's just that you looked at a certain way because you went to their school system as they weed you out, see who's the toughest black. Go through
Hmm.
your history on these leaders.
Hmm.
They found
Hmm.
most of them in colleges. Pat Hill said it. Pat Hill has a book called Blue Ain't Black. And in there, she says they take those young people up north and they tell them either you're going to be the news or you'll be in the news
Mm, mm, mm.
because they need a group of people to keep the rest of our people at bay. So that's what's happening in Chicago. It's just a shame, and we know them. We're friends with them. We sit in meetings with them, but we close our eyes because we want to live this great life. I'm not worried about dying, okay? Because remember this: a hero dies once, a coward dies over and over. So when I tell my story boldly, I've died. I died in 2008. I am proud to have met the woman that I have transformed into because I literally, purposely live on the right side, not trying to act like I'm perfect, but the creator said he made us in his perfect image. So that means every day I'm going to be working toward perfection to the day I die.
Well, Karen, we're running out of time,
Okay.
but you have been a wealth of wisdom tonight for people in our community, whether you're thinking about owning a business, whether you own a business, whether you're customers, just giving people some information to think about themselves. And I think information that people need to
Can,
hear these. People
can,
hear the
can I
need these
can
messages.
I say this one thing? to
Absolutely.
be to be in business, because America is a business and there's a lot of
Mhm.
write-offs, but to be in business is one of the greatest things you can ever do, because when you see yourself accomplishing something, you want to do more and more. And when you find out that sky is the limit on what you
Mhm.
can do, your business can't do anything but grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Karen, thank you for coming on this show tonight.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you for
Thank
asking.
you for doing the work that you're doing. Definitely, I support what you're doing, and I appreciate you.
Oh,
And
love you,
so,
Queen.
yes, ma'am, absolutely. And so we want to thank our viewers for coming in tonight. Again, this is Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. This is our weekly podcast, Behind Black Businesses, because that's what we're trying to do. I'm
Yes.
not going to say that's what we're trying to do. That's what we are
That's
doing.
what you do.
Absolutely. We are supporting our businesses. You are absolutely right. And don't forget to go to our website at rrgbc.org, where you can make a donation or you can purchase from our online store. And please subscribe so you can win a copy of our book that we're giving away for this month, The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy. And so I want to thank you all again. And Karen, thank you again. And blessings to you, dear.
Thank you, Queen. Love you.
You too. Thank you.